So, welcome. Thank you for joining. This is the pre-proposal conference for the Temporary Rental and Utility Assistance, TRUA RFP. For attendance purposes, if everyone can please put your name, title, and company that you're representing, organization that you're representing in the chat. And we ask that everyone mute themselves. At the very end, there will be questions, time for questions and answers. And if you can please submit all of those into the chat feature. So all requests for information, clarification, any kind of questions, they need to be emailed to hostprocurements@denvergov.org throughout this process, and they will be received in accordance with the schedule of events. So the deadline to submit additional questions is Wednesday, August 9th by 5 p.m. And responses to those questions will be posted Friday the 11th by 5 p.m. Really quickly, I just want to take a moment to introduce a couple of folks. We have Melissa Toddy. If you want to introduce yourself really quickly.
Good morning, everyone. Melissa Toddy, Housing Stability Director with the Department of Housing Stability.
Thank you. And Ian Cohn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ian Cohn. I am a program officer also with the Department of Housing Stability.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Nicole Givens. I am the host procurement administrator here. We have a couple other folks, and I apologize that their names aren't on here, but just want to mention really quickly, Rashonda Gordon, if you want to introduce yourself really quickly with your title as well.
Oh, yes. My name is Rashonda Gordon, and I'm one of the contract administrators here at Host.
And Becca Schnell.
Morning, everyone. My name is Becca Channel, and I'm the Emergency Rental Assistance Program Manager with the Department of Housing Stability.
Thank you. All right. So the schedule of events is as follows. The RFP was issued on July 26th. This morning, August 4th, we're having the pre-proposal conference. The deadline to submit additional questions, once again, is August 9th by 5 p.m. And responses to those questions will be August 11th by 5 p.m. The proposal due date is September 1st by 5 p.m. And that evaluation period is tentatively September 1st through the 18th. And the award date we're expecting roughly to be September 25th. Once again, that's tentative. So the TRUA RFP, and just to give you guys a heads up, I will be reading this verbatim for any of those who are choosing to listen as opposed to watch. So since 2017, the TRUA program has been providing rental and utility assistance to low, moderate income residents experiencing financial crisis and who are at risk of being evicted. With the continued goal of preventing involuntary displacement among the city and county of Denver residents, Host is seeking proposals for the TRUA program for a period through December 24th, with the potential of extending awarded contracts through future program years. And just a reminder, if for folks, if you don't mind putting yourselves on mute, if that is an option, if you can do so. All right. Host is particularly interested in proposals that address existing gaps in eviction prevention programs available throughout the Denver metro area, as well as proposals emphasizing robust access to resources designed to support low to moderate income households, racial and ethnic minorities, immigrants, and refugees, as well as populations imminently at risk of housing instability. Eligible activities supported by this funding include, but are not limited to, application review and eligibility determination, rental and utility assistance, and resource referral and navigation. So for eligibility, eligible applicants include those that are 80% AMI or below for their household size. Qualified applicants must provide evidence of Tenancy demonstrate their home serves as their primary residence, and providers must verify the residence is located within the city and county of Denver. Eligibility continued. Renters applying for rent and or utility assistance and homeowners applying for utility assistance must demonstrate current financial or other household housing crisis to be eligible for finance assistance. These may include, but are not limited to, job loss, reduction in income, reduction in hours worked, an unexpected increase in non-discretionary expenses, uninhabitable living conditions, a notice of rent increase, a demand for rent or possession, or a court summons. And qualified applicants must have cash or assets on hand that is equal to or greater than the relief funds being requested, excluding funds reserved for non-discretionary living expenses. The budget funding available for this comes from the City of Denver's Affordable Housing Fund, Affordable Housing Incentive Fee Fund, and Community Investment Impact Special Revenue Fund. The current amount budgeted for this program in 2024 is approximately $4.4 million. Portion of these funds are required to serve residents living in the following priority neighborhoods, which are Westwood, East Colfax, Sun Valley, Lobeville, Elyria, Swansea. Additional funds for this program may be included in the mayor's 2024 budget. Host is seeking 2 proposed budgets for this RFP based on existing budget and potential budget should additional funds become available. So one is if the available program funding is $4.4 million, and one proposed budget if the available funding is $20 million. Requirements. So respondents must have knowledge about best practices and prior experience serving low to moderate income residents at risk of housing instability with eviction prevention services. Respondents must also demonstrate a strong commitment to integrating into and coordinating with existing service delivery systems of eviction legal defense and eviction prevention programs to streamline qualified applicants' access to all available community resources. Additionally, respondents must have a plan to develop and expand upon existing partnerships with housing stabilization service providers, and that will enhance resource and delivery and avoid duplication of services. Program assistance must be provided in accordance with the fair housing requirements that protect citizens from discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion or creed, national origin, ancestry, age, sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity or gender expression, marital or familial status, military status, or physical or mental disabilities. Host is particularly interested in service providers who can provide the following. So additional wraparound support, including but not limited to case management, housing navigation, mediation, and other support services for households who previously or recently experienced homelessness, households currently doubled up, households with children, and or households in need of relocation assistance. Focused service delivery for a portion of funds in priority neighborhoods. So once again, Westwood, East Colfax, Sun Valley, Globeville, and Elyria, Swansea. The selected contractor will be required to report, so these are the data requirements, will be required to report on households served by the program through Host Salesforce system on a monthly basis. Required data reported in Salesforce include the following. So number of unduplicated households served within a monthly reporting period, number of unduplicated households served year to date, demographic information from all households including race, ethnicity data, number of households served with a disability, female head of household, and households age 62 or older per reporting period, and then additional data may be required to be collected and reported utilizing the supplemental form provided by Host. So, All contracts require certificate of insurance. The required certificate of insurance provisions include workers' compensation and employers' liability. Waivers, there are waivers for sole proprietors. Commercial general liability, including sexual abuse and molestation exclusion language. Any contractor working with youth and or vulnerable populations will require the same coverage as part of the contractor's commercial general liability coverage. And then business automobile liability, once again, there's an exception for sole proprietors. Cyber liability insurance, so any contractor responsible for retaining PII. Technical requirements. In addition to the responding to the questions and the budget required, respondents must also provide diversity and inclusiveness form that is done through Executive Order 101. You guys can either upload it or choose to, the easiest is to upload it, but you can also just fill it out appropriately. There's directions in the RFP, proof of registration with the Secretary of State, accounting and audits, appropriate accounting and audits per the size of your organization and amount. And then sample contract, there's just a section where you need to certify that you've reviewed all of it. And if you have anything that you want to add or red line, there's a section for that as well. And then anti-discrimination policy, once again, certify that if you do have it, and then also provide any written anti-discrimination or non-discrimination employment and service policies. Evaluations. So areas for the evaluation panel to review include agency capacity and experience, proposed services, equity and diversity, response to the city's proposed questions, technical review of the proposal requirements, proposed outcomes, the budget plan, response to city's proposed sample contract, the provisions in the certification section, and other requirements as applicable as needed. There is no weighting relative importance of criteria intended or implied by the way this is listed. And now to the fun part. So questions. So questions, once again, written questions, they'll be accepted up until the deadline of August 11th at, I'm sorry, I believe that's a typo. I think it is August 9th, Wednesday, August 9th. And then we will have the responses to those by August 11th of that Friday. All questions and answers will be posted in an addendum. If there are any changes to the proposal in any sort of way, that will also be sent in an addendum. Submission of proposals for the solicitation must be done electronically through Zengen. And now, once again, we have time for questions and answers. So the remaining time, if you can, once again, type your questions into the chat function and then we will respond to them. If you, for some reason, don't have questions here today, but then you have some later on, please send them to that host procurements@denvergov.org. All right. All right, first question. Are we able to say we serve low and extremely low income folks, or do we need to keep it at the 80% AMI or below? Melissa, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Yeah. Generally, I would say the program will be serving households at or below 80% AMI. If there is a lower income target population that you'd like to focus on, you can certainly include that information in the proposal.
How many contracts do you anticipate awarding? So that we can say that it's dependent upon the proposal submitted. It's based on the evaluations. I can say that in the past, generally, it has been awarded to multiple agencies. For the references, are these references of individuals or for the individual applying, or an individual / organization referencing the entire organization? So I apologize for any confusion there. As far as the references go, just references for that would support, right, the work that you're doing. So for the organization, essentially, if you guys have other organizations or cities or whatever the case that you've worked with that can speak to some of that similar work or work that provides transferable skills for this proposal. Next question. And just to confirm, does that answer, do those answers clarify everything for everyone on the first three? Take that as a yes. All right. One of the eligible activities listed is receiving, reviewing, and making eligibility determinations for TRUA applications submitted to a central database. My organization is a homelessness service and housing stabilization provider. Can we propose to serve our own clients outside of residents who submit their TRUA applications to the central database? If agencies, follow up to that, if agencies such as mine are allowed to serve their own clients, would we still be required to submit client applications to the central database? Ian?
Yeah, I would say that anyone is welcome to apply to the program, but that all applicants would have to go through the same central database and application process.
Does that answer the question? And you can come off mute if to.
Ian, this is Kim Bell. I'm the person who asked the question. I guess my organization just wants to know that we can propose our own clients for this program, and that our clients would not necessarily have submitted a TRUA application through the city's database, or maybe the priority would be that any of our clients who need eviction prevention services, one of our case managers, one of our staff would submit a TRUA application. I guess that's what we're trying to understand, what you're expecting of grantees, respondents.
Yeah, I think, if your organization is interested in serving a subpopulation, your proposal can certainly reflect that. No matter who is being served by the program, we will need any applicant to go through the same application process and submit an application through the same centralized database. We're sort of working on transitioning the program to an online database, and so we'll want sort of that application data for anyone applying to the program. So that everyone is sort of queued into the same wait list, and also adhering to the same prioritization process as well, depending on the urgency of their eviction. So even if you are wanting to serve sort of a subpopulation or a population that your organization is focused on serving, regardless, they will have to submit an application to the same centralized database.
Okay, and then I guess our organization would subsequently, we would just wait for follow-up from the city that the application for one of our clients was approved, and that we could go ahead and provide rental assistance to them and refer them to the resource programs that you mentioned in the RFP.
So the organizations awarded these funds for TRUA will be responsible for reviewing applications and making eligibility determinations. So we at Host will not be taking any part for the most part in any eligibility determinations, unless of course there are appeals for denials or any perhaps more complex cases that you need some technical assistance on. Otherwise, the organization awarded these funds will be solely responsible for reviewing applications, collecting documentations, and making final eligibility determinations. Does that answer your question?
I think so. I guess, this award will be going to more than one organization. So example, if my organization is serving a subpopulation and we would submit applications through the central database, our staff would review them and approve them. I'm just going to throw out a round number. Let's say we have, 100 clients that need eviction prevention services. We would do those applications, we would review and approve them and provide the services to them. But we would not be the only grantee. There are multiple grantees expected for this RFP, correct?
Potentially. So it kind of goes with the question of if we're going to award multiple. Once again, that's only determined upon review of the proposals. If there is an organization out there that can service everyone, and that's what the evaluation team determines while reviewing the proposals, that's a possibility. However, in the past, it has been awarded to multiple.
Okay, well, and I guess we're just trying to, we're wondering if we should really be just referring our clients to TRUA just as referrals and not actually consider being an applicant and a potential grantee for this program. Do you see what I'm saying? Since we are just serving a subpopulation and we would not be looking to, serve residents throughout, city and county of Denver, we are just really interested in helping our specific clients.
So that actually coordinates with the next question. So I think there's a way to answer both. It says, if our organization serves a specific population, such as, for example, individuals living with HIV, would we be eligible for the grant, or do we need to accept any client? Technically, if you guys would, any organization is eligible if there is a subpopulation that you are particularly like HIV, or let's say like senior citizens or something, you would be eligible for the grant. However, just as a reminder, a part of the RFP is being able to coordinate, and that is something that they would be able to assess during that evaluation process and make those determinations at award. If you're eligible to apply, that's really based on your own, instincts and awareness and, what you think you can supply. So Kim, for example, when making those determinations, we really leave it up to you guys to decide. But yes, you are eligible for that grant. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say thank you. I think I hear what you're saying, and we will discuss this RFP a little bit more. But thank you for the clarification and the explanation.
And
Ian,
Nicole,
is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I would echo everything you just said. Would also add that there is language in the RFP that we are particularly interested in organizations willing or able to serve these priority neighborhoods that were listed as well. Just want to make that known and call that out as well. Brooke, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just, what do you mean by ability to coordinate?
Ability to coordinate with, say, existing eviction prevention services and resources within the community.
So if we have partnerships with legal groups that already provide eviction prevention, and we do serve a subpopulation specifically of HIV positive, and we can coordinate specifically with those programs, then that would be sufficient.
Yes, as an example of that
Okay.
type of coordination, yes. I think that terminology can be very broad and mean different things for different organizations, depending on who you're already working with. We also have contracted eviction legal defense partners with the city. And so I think our expectation would be that there's close coordination with those providers as well, at minimum.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So follow up to the reference question, if we have other contracts with host, can we use host as a reference? Technically, yes, you can. However, it is not advisable. And the reason being is that because during that evaluation process, host, there's already host members as a part of that. So it would probably be more beneficial to have other references outside of that. Some kind of see it as like a waste if you use it on host, because there's already folks from host in that evaluation process that will likely then know about those other contracts and your ability with those. So yes, you technically can, but not most advisable, I guess. The RFP instructs applicants to submit 2 budgets, which is average award anticipated with the current program of 4.4 million. And how many awards does host expect to make? How much of the current budget of 4.4 is expected to serve the priority neighborhoods? Once again, that's just, I know that's an unfortunate answer, but we don't have like a specific amount. It's not going to necessarily say, oh, out of this RFP, we have to choose 2 or 3 or 4. It's really based on the proposals that the evaluation team gets. If they review the proposals and they think that there are really 2 strong candidates, it might just go to 2. If, you know, there's proposals where they see value in awarding to more so, then that will be a thing. So it's really based upon those proposals that host receives, unfortunately.
Nicole, I'm gonna just answer the second portion of this question. So there is a carve out. We anticipate about 1.3 million being allocated to serve the priority neighborhoods. And that's based on requirements of a special revenue fund that'll be provided to the program.
Thanks, Melissa. In addition to a centralized application process, would there also be one centralized community queue / waitlist based on need prioritization with client referrals to funded partners coming from and in order of that queue?
Yes, we would apply a prioritization process. And then so any applications coming from that centralized database, coming into that centralized database from any community provider would have to adhere to that same priority.
Question: we have not worked with TRUA before. How many months of assistance can households receive?
Yeah, good question. As the program stands right now, households can receive 6 months of rental assistance within a 12-month calendar year, and that can include rental arrears and a current month's rent. The program does not, at least right now, pay future month's rent, but we would consider future month's rent to be future by the 15th of the month. So by August 15th, for example, we would consider August to be in arrears and September to be a current month's rent. And then the program also does utility assistance, 1 utility per household per utility, which includes Denver Water and Xcel Energy per calendar year per household.
All right, any other questions? Don't want to cut anyone off if you guys are typing in the chat. If not, then I'm also happy to give back time. Once again, if you guys leave here and then all of a sudden you have questions, or if you start your applications, you know, like this weekend, and you have other questions that come up, please do not hesitate to reach out. Please send any and all questions to that hostprocurements@denvergov.org email. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.